No way. I can't celebrate our wedding anniversary with an ugly wife. Do you really think you're worth anything? You're disgusting. Thank God I'm going on a business trip soon. I don't want to see your face. You're the daughter of a construction company, so find me a nice place to stay, but don't expect much from your little family business that's almost bankrupt. I had hoped to rebuild my relationship with my husband, so I gathered the courage to ask him. But my hope was crushed when he coldly rejected me. The gentle smile he once gave me, saying he would take good care of me, was all a lie. His real intention was to marry the CEO's daughter. Even though my father was the founder and CEO, he worked from a simple office in our home. When my husband learned this, he thought he knew everything about our family business. Since then, he has looked down on me with bitterness. On our wedding anniversary, he made it clear that he planned to spend the night with a woman he truly loved, leaving me behind in despair with a smug smile on his face. My family is in the construction business. Since I graduated from university, I've lived with my parents and worked as an admin assistant to support the business. I didn't want to rely on them forever, so when my grandma passed away, I took over her house and started living on my own. Afterward, I met my husband John through a friend. We connected instantly in every way, including our values, and got married quickly. John and I started our new life together in my house, enjoying our happy days and excited about our promise to celebrate our wedding anniversary every year. However, our joy was dampened by the old house with its creaking floors and stained walls. I sighed, remembering the conversation I had with my father the day before. He suggested we build a new house for our new life. While I wasn't against the idea, the house held so many memories of my beloved grandmother. I was torn between starting a new life with my loving husband and holding on to the memories of my late grandmother. I couldn't decide what to do. Just tear down this old house. Your family is in construction. Can't you even handle something like this? You're just a small, inefficient builder from the countryside, or maybe this house suits a country bumpkin like you. John would snap in frustration whenever the floor creaked or the house made noises. When we first met, he was kind and cheerful. He joked about being intimidated by my job at my father's company, and we laughed together. He proposed to me, promising he'd take better care of me than my parents did. But after we got married and he visited my parents' house, he was shocked. The house was just ordinary, and the office was a small building on the same property. It was nothing like what he had imagined. There were construction materials piled up in the yard. Since then, John always found excuses not to visit my parents and started making degrading comments to me. Later, I heard that he told everyone at work he was marrying the daughter of a company president. I never told him that my family owned a large business. After that, our conversations decreased dramatically, and we began sleeping in separate bedrooms. If you get pregnant by mistake, I feel sorry for our unborn child. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror? He would say whenever we saw each other, criticizing my family background and appearance. Eventually, I started to avoid him too. One day, after work, I went shopping and got caught in an unexpected rainstorm. Soaked and shivering, I hurried home and went to the bathroom to take a shower. I noticed the basement floor felt damp, even though I had cleaned it that morning. It seemed like it hadn't dried properly. I hesitated but decided to get warm as quickly as possible, so I took off my wet clothes without thinking much. However, I froze at the uncomfortable feeling that something was wrong. The bathroom was still humid and water droplets clung to the shower curtain and walls. I had cleaned the bathroom the night before, and even if I forgot to turn on the exhaust fan, it seemed unlikely the room would stay that wet until late afternoon the next day. There was even a faint smell of shampoo that wasn't ours. After showering, I texted John to ask if he had come home during the day. He replied with a simple, "Of course not." He should have been at work, busy with his job. But then I found something strange. A gap between the washing machine and the wall revealed his favorite watch. I was sure I had seen him leave the house that morning wearing it. Feeling uneasy, I put on rubber gloves and went back to the bathroom. I pulled the drain in the bathtub and saw it clearly, strands of long hair that were definitely not the same color as mine or John's. There were also a couple of small stones, likely from nail art, tangled in the hair. I rarely got my nails done. Next, I checked John's bedroom and found more of the same long hair, along with the same unfamiliar scent. There was even a smudge of foundation and lipstick on the white bed sheets. That night, feeling sick to my stomach, I decided to check John's phone while he dozed off in the living room. I had been avoiding him by hiding in my room after dinner. He didn't expect me to come out, and after a few drinks, he dropped his phone on the floor and fell asleep in a good mood. I didn't sense any caution from him at all. His cell phone wasn't even locked. A bit surprised, I took advantage of the situation and opened his messaging app. I quickly found messages from the woman he was seeing. I guess she was his ex-girlfriend. From their conversations, I learned she came from a wealthy family and had left him when she got engaged to another rich man. However, he couldn't get over her and contacted her while she was preparing to move into a luxury apartment her fiancé's parents had bought as a wedding gift. Her fiancé couldn't move in with her yet, and she was struggling with living alone in the new place. It seemed John took advantage of that. To compete with her happy messages, he bragged that he was about to marry the daughter of a construction company. I realized then that he married me just to make his story sound impressive. How pathetic. He had no shame in using me just to show off, and I had been completely fooled. I felt so stupid. I threw his phone on the floor, went back to my room, and cried out loud. I couldn't think straight and didn't even want to think about it. Our relationship had been cold for a while, but I hadn't given up on us. Now I couldn't stay calm. I cried like a child until I couldn't cry anymore. Exhausted, I fell asleep without realizing it. When I woke up, I heard John closing the door as he left for work. I jumped up, quickly cooled my swollen eyelids, and thought again about what I wanted to do. All I could remember was the image of the kind John I once knew. I couldn't believe it had all been an act. He could have easily divorced me when he realized I wasn't what he expected, but he didn't. I thought there might still be a chance for a fresh start. That day, I made his favorite stew and waited for him to come home. I usually made it from scratch, and he had once told me it was the best. I had fond memories of him eating it with a big smile. When he came home, he didn't say anything directly to me, but he ate the stew happily. "Hey, our anniversary is this weekend. Do you remember our promise? Why don't we go out together?" I asked. I was sad and lonely, tired of living like this without being able to talk to each other. "We don't have to do anything special. I just want to be with you. I want to see the same things and have conversations," I said, gathering the courage to tell him. Tears welled up in my eyes. Whether from nervousness or fear, I wasn't sure. I looked into his face, hoping he would take me seriously. But instead, he sneered. "Oh, you're gross. A reclusive pig suddenly wants to be with me on our anniversary. What makes you think you deserve to be celebrated? An anniversary is only worth spending money on if there are feelings involved. Otherwise, it's just another day, nothing special. There's no anniversary with you at all. I don't remember any stupid promises. Stop saying weird things. You're making me nauseous." He glared at me with disdain, as if I were trash, then stormed out, claiming he was going to buy beers. Devastated, I retreated to my room and cried again. That night, he was lying carelessly in the living room, drunk. I wondered if he enjoyed mocking me in his head. I looked at his phone and found that he had made a reservation for a fancy dinner with his mistress on the day of our anniversary. Ironically, it seemed to be the anniversary of their relationship too. Everything about our marriage felt like a mistake. There was never any love from his side. I realized that I was just a misjudged status symbol for him, nothing more than a tool to maintain a basic lifestyle. I collapsed on the spot where he slept peacefully beside me. I trembled, but no tears came. "I'm leaving next week for a month on a business trip, so check out some short-term apartments for me. Your family is in construction, so you can at least find good properties through your connections, right? But maybe a business on the verge of bankruptcy doesn't have that kind of pull," he said with his usual sarcasm before leaving for work. It was almost December, and he was still the same. Normally, I would have been upset by the last-minute notice, but I no longer had the energy or emotion to care. I already knew his trip was a lie, just an excuse to spend more time with his mistress before her wedding. Checking his phone had become a regular habit. I felt guilty and disgusted with myself, but it gave me useful information. "Have a good trip, good luck," I said with an innocent smile, pretending I knew nothing. The following week, as soon as he was out of sight, I made a phone call. "Hello, yes, please start today," I said, then rushed back to my room to get ready. I had been waiting for this moment. I was impatient but excited as I ran out of the house in high spirits. A month later, while I was at work, my cell phone kept ringing. I ignored it because I was busy, but the constant vibration was annoying. I asked my parents for permission to step out and finally answered the call. Yes, what's going on? I asked. When I came back, I found that the house was gone. Completely gone. The land was up for sale too. John was yelling on the other end of the phone so loudly that I didn't need to put it on speaker. Explain what the hell is going on. The house is gone. You told me to get rid of the house as soon as possible, so I asked my father. I thought this was supposed to be my privilege. Why are you complaining when I did exactly what you wanted? I replied calmly, suppressing my laughter as I imagined him panicking. Don't mess with me. There's no way a small business like yours could do this in just 1 month. And the sign has the name of a major company as the contact. There's no way they do a favor for a small, no-name business. Who's behind this? Don't try to fool me. I told you I asked for it. You took one look at my parents' house and assumed it was small and mediocre. Did you ever actually research my family's business? I said, revealing the truth. He seemed to realize something and quickly searched for information on his phone, probably about the company on the sign. He was so stunned that he couldn't say a word. No wonder on the company's website he saw a picture of my father as the CEO. We're a construction company, but we also run various related businesses. Not only do we handle home construction, but demolition and land sales as well. Recently, with inflation affecting business, they were more than happy to help me demolish the house and sell the land. The demolition took only a week. It was their last big job of the year, and the land sold at a pretty good price. I saw it as the last Christmas gift from my beloved grandma. I've been struggling with the decision for a while, but in the end, it helped me make up my mind. John was still speechless despite my cheerful tone. I couldn't see his face, but I imagined he must have been pale and sweating. Don't tell me you threw away all my stuff, my computer, my work files. Damn it. Do you have any idea what you've done? He was half sobbing, panicking about what happened to his belongings. No way, I'm not that heartless. My stuff went to my parents' house, and yours went to the right place. It's a little early, but it's my Christmas gift to you. Please accept it. Oh, and by the way, the boxes should arrive today. I sent them under your name, and I wrote down the address. I'm sure they'll come asking about it. You guys can talk it over and come to an agreement. Where the hell did you send them? He trailed off, so panicked that he forgot to hang up the phone. As I expected, the recipients of the package appeared. Can you please explain what's going on? Asked a man to John's horror. It was the fiancé of his mistress. I had sent John's boxes to their condo. I had already confirmed the address from John's messages. Along with the boxes, I included pictures I had taken of him and his mistress at the hotel and in the condo. The fiancé's family was well known in the area, and I made sure to send the pictures to them as well. On the other end of the phone, I could hear John and his mistress pointing fingers at each other while the outraged fiancé watched. Their engagement was called off, and it looked like a court case was in the works. When the storm passed and John realized he was still on the phone with me, he was furious and started cursing. You're ruining my life. I'm going to ruin yours too. You're worthless, and I'll make you regret this for the rest of your life. You deserve everything you got. How dare you say that without even thinking about what you did? I responded calmly. I won't forgive you ever. This is definitely the end, I said and hung up on John. I immediately called his work and reported his wrongdoings, which I had discovered while checking his phone. Then I called his parents and told them everything. I considered holding back if he made a sincere apology, but I felt I had no reason to anymore. That same day, John was fired from his job, and his angry parents disowned him. Overnight, he lost his job, his house, his wife, and his family. I was sure he couldn't stay in town any longer. After that, we officially divorced. Of course, I negotiated a large alimony settlement. His mistress was also abandoned by her furious parents. Her ex-fiancé sued her for swindling, and she was ordered to pay a huge compensation. They brought shame to a wealthy family, and the amount demanded from them was likely far greater than what a regular person like me could have managed. John and his mistress, now with no place in each other's lives, supposedly started over in a small apartment. With a damaged career and a naive young lady, they probably struggled to make a decent life together. Rumor had it they were arguing fiercely every day and just scraping by to pay their debts. Meanwhile, I bought a new house with the money from selling the land. I chose to live modestly without my parents' help and make the most of each day. Although my marriage failed, it taught me not to judge people quickly. I reflected on my naivety and learned not to waste this experience. I was hurt, but I am determined not to let it define me. I am committed to growing, becoming a better person, and learning to see people clearly. I set a big goal for myself and made a